Hi guys, thank you so much for watching Minutes of Positivity. I am Anupriya. Welcome to the show Upbeat the Conversation with Anupriya. So today's episode is very close to my heart because it's a collaboration with Lampshade Writers, and Lampshade Writers is the community which helps people and writers to write more and work with them. So today's episode, I have Mr. Vinayak Jakati sir. He is from Bengaluru. He writes and he's into corporate also, which is so amazing because the knowledge and the amount of passion he has, it just inspires me so much. So today we spoke about the latest book which he wrote, the 3 a.m. And this whole entire episode he writes poems, he writes stories and a lot more stuff. We talked about a lot of things in person and especially the rapid fire round, which you should definitely check out. So watch this episode till the end and let me know your thoughts. Hi Nivedita. Hi Vinayak sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to meet you,
Hello.
Anupriya. Good to see you.
I think the feeling is mutual.
Yeah, same here. Good to see you again, Anupriya. Thank you so much for doing this.
Okay, guys. So if you don't know that this is a collaboration with Lampshade Writers, and I'll be interviewing some great authors and people who are into writing. And if you know me, I'm into writing these days, and I think it has just changed my life completely. So Vinayak sir, I just want to know how you got connected with Nivedita, because I know about Nivedita and my audience knows about Nivedita. We met during the course. So how you guys connected?
I think it was somewhere mid last year that I was introduced to Nivedita through a mutual friend who also happens to be, great appreciator of poetry. And he said, there's this WhatsApp group that's there where, they share great poetry. They have sessions where they read poetry. They like to join. I said, yeah, sure, why not? And so that's how I got connected. And ever since then, it's just been, amazing being a part of Lampshade Writers because there's such a great variety of people there. From really young people who are venturing into poetry to, people who are a little more advanced in their life. So the themes you get and the depth of writing that you encounter is quite, something, a lot for us to take from and learn. So yeah, it's been a great few months. And just yesterday we were on another session. It was an open mic. I think it was probably one of the maybe the last virtual sessions that the team wants to do, and after this they want to start doing some face-to-face sessions. So yeah, it's been a very engaging experience.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow, I think Nivedita, you are just spreading out your magic. Because you remember
No.
we talked about the same thing when we recorded the podcast. You were like, yeah, I want to build this around and see how great this is going.
Thanks, Anu. Actually, I think it's mostly the members, who join in. And Vinayak sir has been like a great addition. His poetry is very different and very, it's like very soothing when he reads. So it's very beautiful. You should, I'm sure, as we progress in the podcast and when you listen to his poetry, you'll figure that out. But as much as he needs us, we need him too.
Yeah. I think I have also become a fan of poetry, but though I don't know how to write it because I'm more into storytelling. So, sir, please, can you just help me out how to convert that storytelling into the poetry? To say, I just don't want to tell the entire story to the people, but yeah, the crux of it, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I feel a good place to start maybe would be to start, reading and immersing yourself more in poetry, because a lot of poems are also stories. A lot of times when I write, it comes out like a story. It starts with a trigger, seed of something that happened or something that caught your imagination, and then you start to peel that, little by little, and the story unfolds. The thing about a poem that I feel may be different from a story is you don't quite know how a poem is going to end until it actually ends. And sometimes the endings always surprise you. You don't know where that came from.
Yeah, yeah. So can you just tell us about your whole entire journey? So you always wanted to go into poetry and writing, or you wanted to pursue something and then you realize, okay, that's not my thing.
Well, growing up in Bangalore, I grew up in Bangalore. Um, I was drawn towards everything that was not academic. So my parents were always worried that I had too many distractions. So there was art and music and drama and sports, and so I just loved everything that was not school. And I was fortunate to have a great set of friends growing up, which continues to this day through groups like Lampshade Writers, where I could find these avenues to explore all those things that I loved. So my career wise, I got into learning and organization development, and over about 15 18 years, again in my career, I always had a love for other things that were not exactly job related. So I got involved. I got deeper into reading about philosophy, yoga, and all kinds of things which were somewhat related but not directly related to what my job was. So somewhere at I think 2018, I was at a choice point where I'd been extremely fortunate up to that point in my career, where I found a lot of success in my career very early on, and I had to make a choice about whether I wanted to continue further down that road, or step off and do something else that was more adventurous and risky and unpredictable. So I chose, to step off the path and start something else on the side, and that's how this whole journey started. And my reconnection to writing actually happened in 2020. I used to write a lot when I was younger, but somewhere through my corporate life, it wasn't so much of a strong voice. I got reconnected to it after I lost my father in 2020, and it became sort of my go-to place for processing and just understanding what I was going through at the time, because it was just came out of the blue. And somewhere through that, I went back to journaling, then to poetry, and then a book happened, and then it just kept going. Now it's like it's a part of me that had never left me, but I've suddenly rediscovered it after all these years.
You told me about the corporate life. Can you just elaborate it more? Because I thought that you are not in a corporate thing at all.
I was, yeah. So after engineering, I did engineering. As much as I was inclined artistically, but I was too scared to even ask for something else because I had no clue. So I did what everybody did. But at the end of it, I think I was clear that I wanted to do something that involved people and that involved some creative expression. Not that engineering doesn't, but at that time it just didn't feel like it. So then I joined the contact center industry with an intention to go into advertising someday, because that's where I thought I could be creative. But one thing led to another, and I found myself in the IT services industry for good 18 years. But largely in the HR, learning, organization development. That was the space where I found my calling. In working with people, designing, creating content, putting that out to people. That became my home for 18 years, right? And like I said, I reached, I think, a point in that road where something else was wanting to emerge, and I wanted to explore something else, and that's how I stepped off that corporate career path.
I think this has just inspired me that there at no age you can just think of writing and you can begin it anywhere from anywhere, and you can start over again and again. So because I think that a lot of people just have told me about this thing. When you write, when you constantly write, you improve day by day. So I have this question in my mind, because you told me about you started writing in 2020. So were you a regular writer, or you write during some incidents, or fiction, non-fiction, or earlier also you used to write whenever you feel just that nothing is going way, or you feel exhausted, or whatever you felt? So what was it?
Yeah, I've always been connected to writing because I was in, a big part of my career was in instructional design and creating content and training material and things like that. So I was, let's say, not in the realm of creative writing as much as, writing for the workplace and creating instructional content. So that was one of the things I took from my engineering. Besides learning how to play the guitar, the other thing I learned from engineering was how to use mental models to frame a structure for whatever it is that you are trying to present. And that became really handy in creating content. So it was, I think, in 2020 where I went back to creative writing, which I used to do in college. When we used to try writing songs and poetry and stuff, and it was atrocious, but we used to try doing that. I got back to that in 2020. Yeah.
I think that this is what I wanted to know, that you always had this interest towards writing. You're always connected towards writing. So what advice you would give to a beginner, if he or she wants to start with writing things? How you begin with it? Because I believe that not everyone is born with the perfect storytelling skills, or with the perfect sentences, how to build those sentences and how to play with words. So, what all books you referred, and what was your regular practice to become more better every day? Because I know
Yeah.
you are an amazing writer.
Thank you. I feel someone who really wants to write, the first step would be to immerse oneself more in reading and reading all kinds of material, from how they write advertisements to, nonfiction to fiction to literature, prose, just to develop one your own inclination. Over time you start to lean towards a particular style of writing that you start to identify as your own, and also to find your own voice in how you want to write. So I always thought my first, I knew I would write a book, but I always felt it would be non-fiction related to the work that I do, because a lot of my reading has been non-fiction, management and leadership and those kind of topics. But through it all, there was also an immersion into other types of literature, which took me down the creative path. So reading is the first. The second would be to just write. I feel if you can make that a practice of just writing anything at all, as frequently as you can, with no intention for it to be seen, with no intention for it to be appreciated or published or whatever, but just to get that muscle working, just keep doing that. I think that's great. In terms of tools, there's a few great podcasts that I like listening to, that one could look at. I think there's one called, just look it up here. Yeah, helping writers become authors. There's one podcast by that name, which is fantastic. Especially if you want to write fiction, it's a great podcast to really learn the nuances of building a character arc, structuring your plot, and carving out the storyline, and all the technical elements of heavy writing, so to speak. So yeah, those are three things that I would maybe suggest to someone who's just starting out.
I think that's great. So Do you also practice journaling everyday basis or and manifestations? Because I have heard that a lot of writers, they do journal regularly.
Hmm.
So is it
Yeah,
also your practice?
I do. Although I won't say I do it every day, but I do journal regularly. And but I read every day. So there's always, I like exposing myself to different, types of stuff that I read, from business to technology to, literature to philosophy, and all kinds of topics, because it just, I find that experience very stimulating. And then to be able to connect the dots between all these unrelated topics is extremely engaging.
Okay, that's lovely to hear. So sir, it's just a humble request. Could you please read one or two poems which you have written?
Sure. I think maybe in line with your earlier question of, wanting to be a writer, right?
Yeah.
I think I'll share something. I don't call myself a writer or whatever, but I wrote this poem called "The Secret," which came to me literally in 5 minutes. But I use that as a daily reminder for myself, to get grounded in the real reasons why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. Right? It can be very easy to get lost in this whole pursuit of, I want to be famous, or I want to, make money, or this or that, and so on. But to keep going back to the roots of why it is that you're doing what you're doing. So this is called The Secret. You're not here to conquer the mountain. You're not here to conquer the mountain. You're here to fall in love with the dream of climbing. You're here to listen to the whistling wind whisper how the mountain has always loved you. You're here to listen to the whistling wind whisper how the mountain has always loved you. You're here to listen to the beating of your heart syncopate with every measured step. Steps that teach you how to keep climbing even when you're broken. So that one day, you can finally arrive at your own summit, at your own seat of revelation, where you can find the mountain's best kept secret. So that one day you can finally arrive at your own summit, at your own seat of revelation, where you can find the mountain's best kept secret.
Um, Sir, I was totally into the words. They're very deep. The whole entire poem is very deep. And I felt very connected towards it because I know about, the way the way you expressed it in your voice, and everything was in a very formulation. And of course, the poem, I loved it. I
Thank you.
absolutely loved it. Where it is, please, I want to read it.
Sure, I'll share this with you. And for me, sometimes one of the things about poetry is it reveals some truths about ourselves that we are not
Yes.
fully ready to accept yet. So
Yes.
although I wrote this poem, this is not my everyday experience. Every day I am trying to conquer the mountain. I am trying to get up that hill. I'm trying to win the race. And then I have to stop and remind myself, what are you doing this for? You're here to fall in love with the dream of climbing. That's all you need to do. Take the next step. Take the next step. That's all there is.
I think it's a very great reminder for everyone because a lot of people like us, and if I talk about adults, they're too much of hustling and getting things done fast. They don't have patience. Like if I talk about me, I have no patience at all. I just want to get things done quickly, very quickly, and I'm just constantly running away. So when I listened to you, actually, I was just feeling my own self that I think he said it right. He said it right. You need to sometimes take a deep breath and analyze why you are doing it, what you want out of it. And this is a great question which everyone, I think, should ask once in your life, or every day, after doing every work. Okay, why you wanted to do that, what is giving you
Yeah.
the benefits out of it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. And please tell us about your book, The 3 a.m.
The 3 a.m. call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so this was, somewhere in 2020, I think, mid 2020, I was just kind of coming to terms with the loss of my father. And I had a phone call one day with a friend of mine, and he told me that a mutual friend that we knew was going to die soon. And it, it's like a wound is just healing and another one just opens up. My father going was one thing, but this was somebody that we knew, that worked with us, that we have spent time with, and you don't somehow equate. You feel it's unfair that someone like this is called so early. And at that time, all of a sudden, this thing hit me that what if tomorrow was actually the last day of my life? And what regrets would I die with? So I then just randomly, just in 5 minutes, I wrote 7 or 8 things, and one of them was writing a book. I didn't know what, I didn't know. I knew I wanted to write all the time, but I didn't know what it would be about. But I just left it. And I think 2 or 3 days later, again in the evening, I got off 2 phone calls with 2 other friends who know me well. And we had long conversations. 2020, everybody was going through a difficult time. So we were talking about that. And when I got off the second phone call, it just struck me that, these 2 people that just spoke to me, they don't know each other, but they know me really well, but they've never met in real life. And I thought, what might happen if these 2 were to meet in real life and they talk about what they talk about with me, with each other? What might A say to B, and how might their lives change after that? And suddenly I thought, wait a minute, maybe this is the idea of the book that I wanted to write. So I sat down on a piece of paper and I started to just make some rough sketches of A and B. It's what I call them. And I built little families around them and what they do. And slowly a plot was starting to take shape. And that's how it was born. And thereafter, I actually wrote it in there's 54 chapters in the book, about 90,000 words. I wrote that in almost 2 months flat. I had a writing window of 5 to 7 in the morning when I would write. So I would get up at 5 a.m., write one chapter, and then go on. It was just, I don't know how I did it. 2 months flat, the manuscript was ready. And then, of course, I forgot about it because I got busy with other things in life. And only last year, I got back to the manuscript and found the courage to, say, okay, I will try and publish it, because I was not sure if, I wanted to put it out there at all. And then started the work of publishing it.
That is something great that, you devoted your 2 hours early in the morning. That, you 5 to 7, you spare out time for writing. I think I
Yeah.
need to learn this thing badly from you, because when I see myself, and I see you, I know there's a huge age gap, but still, you still are too much into this thing. You have to write and you do it because you want to do it, and it's amazing, sir. It's absolutely amazing. I'm flattered about this thing, and I will practice this thing for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to, I've always been an early bird that way. But, all of us have our, time slots in the day where we are in flow, where we are in rhythm with life, so to speak. So whatever it is for you, if you're an evening or a night person or whatever it is, that your best time of the day is where I think you should choose.
Sir, but I feel over here that, you should be very devoted towards what you want. And I think this is what has inspired me, because a lot of us are, busy with our office, busy with our routine life, but hardly few people, take out time for what they actually love. So this is what has just inspired me. Can you just elaborate more about 5 to 7 a.m.? What was your routine? And, you know, how routine is very important and discipline is very important for writers, because no one can be a writer just like कि आज लिख लिया कल गायब परसों लिख लिया उसके बाद गायब. But I think discipline is something which is very required in writing.
Yeah, I guess the discipline, all of us, I believe, already have a discipline. It's just that we are not necessarily always disciplined towards the things that we want.
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah.
So and sometimes we also have to be honest with ourselves about what is it that we truly want. So for example, writing might seem like a great thing to do, but if that's not something that you truly want, it's okay. Probably what you want is something else, and your discipline can really pay dividends there. So I feel if we are able to channelize our discipline towards things we know really matter to us, then it doesn't feel like an effort. Then you're in flow. Otherwise, discipline can feel like something forced, and whenever we are forced into something, our best never comes out.
Yeah.
So this thing of I have to do it kind of a thing, I don't believe in it so much, because we have to, whatever we do, we have to do it with joy and a sense of, I just love doing this.
I think you missed the major part, that a lot of people are like people like me. I'm very lazy. It doesn't want to get up from the bed. But this is very inspiring. To be very honest, this is very, very inspiring, because you are doing your job, you're following a regular routine, and you were writing a book. And I so want to write a book, but I just always crib about it. I don't have time for it. But now I know that I have time, but I'm not willing to take it out. So
Yeah, and it's okay, and maybe the right time for you to write that first book will come when you're ready, and then you'll just naturally flow into it.
yeah. Something which you would like to tell to the young writers about your experiences, your mistakes, which you want to, which you want people to be learn about it, so that they won't do the same mistakes.
Yeah, I don't know if I can call myself, but yeah, I can share my mistakes for sure. Something I struggle with always is what I call the curse of completion. You talked about it briefly too. This thing of wanting to finish things. That there's this tendency to rush towards the ending when the finish line starts to come into your visibility. And that's something that I would really encourage everyone to be wary of, because sometimes our best comes out when we see the finish line, but we don't run towards it, but we stop. And, because something else is always cooking, something else always wants to come. And just learning to hold it and take it slowly is a great discipline to cultivate.
Yes, I think the best learning. Okay. So I have asked you multiple questions. So, sir, can you please read some good poem what you wrote in your latest book?
Another poem? Yeah, sure.
From the latest book, the 3 a.m. call.
The 3 a.m. call is actually a fiction. It's not a poetry book.
Okay.
It's
okay. So can you please read the another poem which is something related to the secret?
Okay. Let me think here. Okay, maybe I'll share this poem. This one, it's something even Nivedita likes quite a lot. She likes this poem too. So I'll share this. It's called Hogan Villa,
Okay.
and it's
Wow. Nice.
that brought a smile,
Great.
Nivedita. Yeah. So this one's actually about Bougainvillea that we have at home, and I wrote this inspired by the growth of that Bougainvillea. So it's we have a two-story house. So this one starts on the ground floor and it's gone all the way in front of our house on the terrace. It's just crazy. So this is Bougainvillea. How does one grow wild and free like the white Bougainvillea with arms endless and rich with fleshy green leaves? How does one grow wild and free like the white Bougainvillea with arms endless and rich with fleshy green leaves? How does one get thorns that can be mean, though not so easily seen, unless you chance around, unless you get too close, unless you want to touch what looks like a frail creeper who needs your help to stand? How can one find a way to belong to that bunch of white flowers, swinging, dancing in the wind, high on the sun like little children on a beach having fun? How does one fall like the white flowers who were called to take stage and shine, and then to leave for another's turn, their time in the sky done? How does one fall like the white flowers who were called to take stage and shine, and then to leave their time in the sky done? Still, they like to be seen on the humble ground below, still dancing, still swinging, never feeling alone. Still, they like to be seen on the humble ground below, still dancing, still swinging, never feeling alone. Bougainvillea.
Wow, this is so sweet. I never thought that, poetry can come around in this way also. Very, very
Thank you.
nice, sir. Very nice. So, where are these poetries? I think these are with you only, or you have published it?
I haven't actually. It's all right now. Some of them are on our website, www.somagna.com, somagna.com, and that's our that's the company that I've now set up for coaching and consulting, where poetry is a big part of the work we do as well. So some of it is there, but a large part of it is actually just sitting on my laptop.
Okay.
There's about, I think now, something like close to 300 poems, I think, that are waiting to be published someday.
I'll be asking you a few questions. It's a rapid fire round, and you have to answer
Okay.
them as interesting as you can. Okay. So, what keeps you going?
Yoga.
Oh, wow. Your biggest misconception?
That I'll be understood.
Can you please elaborate it? Why?
And it's the biggest thing that I guess every writer grapples with, that you are trying to communicate something that you feel will connect with your audience in the same way you connect with it.
Yeah.
That's what you hope to achieve all the time.
What's something you are really terrible at?
Saying no.
I think half of the generation has this problem.
Yeah.
Share some of your writing tricks in a brief. If you want to explain it to a small kid who is very much into writing essays and things, so how you'll make them understand?
I would tell them to start with an idea of a visual, and just close their eyes and imagine what you want to see in as much detail as you can. So whether it's people, so you start with one person, how does that person look? What are they wearing? Where are they standing? which place are they in, what is happening in that place, is someone coming to meet them, what might happen when they meet, and so on. So just keep going from there, visualize, and then whatever you see, and just try to put that down on paper and see what happens.
Okay. One more question. What are you more embarrassed of? Like one incident happened in public and you're like, oh my God, this happened. Why?
I think I'm always a little embarrassed about this. I can't think of any particular incident right now. But yeah, this whole idea of for me, this idea of being seen is a little uncomfortable. I'm much more comfortable being a writer in the closet, or but having to come out with whatever your work is not very comfortable.
Okay, so tell me about something that so in this generation we use a lot of abbreviations. Okay, FOMO, YOLO, and a lot of OG, IG. There are tons of things. What are your opinion on it?
Oh, I have mine too. So my favorite abbreviation is IDK. You don't know that, do you?
I know that, of course, because I'm born, brought up in this generation. But a lot of abbreviations I don't understand. Then I just Google it. What is the full form of this? Oh my God, that's the most embarrassing thing. And you dare if you ask somebody, my God, Anupriya, you don't know about it.
Yeah. So for me, my favorite one is IDK. I don't know.
And what about I don't care?
IDC. Now that's hard for me to. Yeah, that's hard for me.
I think, sir, you're very much advanced to this generation because you're aware about these abbreviations.
You're telling me in all of these very subtle ways. You've been telling me right from the start how old I am. So.
No, but if I talk to my mom, no, so she's like, बेटा ये कैसे होता है? इसका क्या मतलब होता है? इतना short form. क्या generation है? इतना short form तुम लोग तो बात ही नहीं करते होगे. Don't use this WhatsApp conversations. But I'm glad you understand it. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, I work with a lot of young people. Yes.
Okay. I remember in Shark Tank, there is the Aman, who is the founder of Port, co-founder of Port. He was telling about the same thing. Ki, yaar, aajkal ke generation ka to samajh nahi aata. I just completely don't understand the short form they use. Oh my God. So that is what just made me realize ki, yaar, ek baar puch ke dekhti. But it's great. It's great. Yeah. So, sir, it was a pleasure talking to you, and learning new things has always been inspired by the people around me. And thank you so much for being here, taking our time on the Sunday evening. I know it's quite hectic and it's the me time, but you gave it to me and to Nivedita. So it was really a pleasure talking to you, and your poetries are something really good. I personally want to, read them, and please record the podcast of your poetry. I'm sure the voice of yours is commendable and people will be loving it. As much as we listen to music, people will be listening to your poetries in your voice. It's very soothing, and you can add the background music subtle, so it's good to go.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I've been thinking about that, but I haven't got around to doing it. It again is one of those things which I'm a little jittery about. I'm much more comfortable doing this, when somebody's with me and I'm with somebody. But recording and putting it out there, I'll try it. Yeah.
But please publish it, because people like me are willing to read this. So please, it's great listening to you and listening to your entire story, how you went and how it's starting now, how it's going. It's going too great, and looking forward to working with you more, and of course meeting you wherever I'll be there in Bangalore.
For sure, yes. And thank you so much for having me on the show. It was awesome. Just your energy is amazing, and I wish you all the best. I think your podcast is going to be really great. Hopefully, your listeners will connect with what we had to say today, and they'll enjoy it too. And thanks,
Yeah, yeah,
Nivedita. It's thanks to Lampshade Writers.
yeah. Thanks to Lampshade
Thank you.
Writers.
Thank you so much. I must thank you guys. I really learned a lot actually in this session. Yes, I know Anu's energy is infectious, and it was really nice listening to the candid version of Vinayak sir also.
Oh, I didn't know that it is a candid version, but I really, because I have not talked to sir a lot, but the way you represented yourself is commendable, sir. It's really good. It's very natural and very smooth. So
Yeah.
the conversation was amazing. I'm really looking forward to do some more amazing conversation with Lampshade Writers. And yeah, so I'll be putting up Lampshade Writers all social media handles, Nivedita social media handles, and Sir social media handles, the website link and the books link. All you have to do is check out the links and get in touch with these amazing people, learn more about how writing works and how things around writing works, and I'm sure you're gonna love it. So thank you so much, guys, once again. It was a pleasure talking to you both, and looking forward to meet you in person, not virtually. I'm tired of
Yes, yeah, why
virtual
not?
meetings.
Yes, yes. Anytime, anytime. If you come to Hyderabad, please do come to our house.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Okay, sir. Thank you, Vinayak sir, once again, and thank you, Nivedita, once again for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Anupriya.
Thanks, Anu. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.